Hi, Sam Topper, Sound of Joy Music Services, and we will continue with part two of the Sunday worship sound in the Pentecostal church. So I think we left the last one where we had just got out of the offertory and we had done the doxology. I think I had used the doxology, all things come of thee. In some churches, they will use the praise God from whom all blessings flow in the same key of F. Let's change our key. Praise ye Lord. On the amen. No, I could just go straight. All right. Now, in the Pentecostal church, the worship experience is a lot different than you may find in any other churches. Music is always being placed somewhere. So usually after the offertory has been taken, it's time for the sermonic solo, or if you have a choir, then you're going to have the choir singing a song. But usually, sometimes it's the choir, then a sermonic solo, or the minister, be it the preacher or the pastor or a guest pastor, will sing their own song. This is when the musician has to be on his P's and Q's when a guest soloist is asked to sing from the congregation, or if a visiting pastor or evangelist decides they want to sing their own song and it's not been rehearsed. So, from a choir standpoint, so I don't interfere with any copyrights, let's just say the choir was singing Total Praise. Well, then again, the musician is always going to, again, play with the choir. I can't play too much of this because I will get a copyright notification. Just a little more. Let me break a little bit and talk. So the choir is singing that song. Usually they will do the verse twice, and then they do the repeat part. And of course, if there's someone directing, they start to get into it. The choir starts to get into it, and your congregation starts to get to it. So I'm throwing in some other chords in it to throw off the YouTube algorithm. So you've gotten through the song. And so on and so forth. So now the minister gets up. If he's been challenged, and I say this jokingly, if he's been challenged because the choir is getting the accolades from the congregation, he'll get up there and want to sing his own song to counter against what the choir has done. I'm sorry, but that does happen. I've experienced it. So if he gets up, he may want to bring the house down to where he wants to go by singing an old standby song in the Pentecostal church. Um, they'll go to the Yes Lord Praise. Now, sometimes they'll stay in the same key or they'll go in an off key. But let's say they stay in the same key. And this is a way to bring the house down. Let's change our sound. congregation in the Pentecostal church is worked up into a frenzy, then you start giving those climbing chords. And this goes on the worship sound in the Pentecostal church. Then you get the signal to bring it down. Now, usually the speaker may say, okay, I need to bring these people in, and they'll start singing a song like I Will Trust in the Lord, and you just get along there with them. Then you would wait until do that 2 or 3 times. Then the congregation finally settles down. Now, in some cases, you may get that guest soloist. What is the guest soloist going to sing? It usually centers around Eye on the Sparrow, um, I Won't Complain. What is the third one? Great is Thy Faithfulness. If you got those 3 songs down, you got probably 60% of what a guest soloist might sing, and they usually do the first verse and the chorus twice. Based upon the vocal talent of the soloist, if it's a soprano, they'll be in the key of, you should put them in the key of E flat. If it's a tenor, you should put him in the key of A flat because of where the highest note go. If it's an alto, good luck because they feel that they are frustrated sopranos. Then you always let the singer start. Don't ever go with put me in the key of A flat. If they're gonna do his Eyes on a Sparrow. You let them start because it's the highest note you have to worry about. That's the highest note in A flat. I sing I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. That's a good key. A flat for a soprano. For an alto, no. They're going to scream. If you're a tenor, you want to put him. I must have got it backwards. That's good for a soprano. If they're doing Eye on the Sparrow, because every song takes you to a different key depending upon again the vocal talent of that singer, and you always want to give them a little, build up music. So if they start talking, which is what I used to do, if they announce the song they're going to sing and they give a little brief introduction to who they are, I could pitch what key to put them in. So if they say, "Well, I'm going to sing His Eyes on the Sparrow," and they start talking, I'll be listening while they're talking to see how their voice inflects. Like you hear my voice. I'm not a singer, but I've been told my voice is very musical. I'll find the key where they are and give them like a lead in melody, knowing your melody is so important. Try to remember my chords. Now I know where it's going to start. That's the first note. Always the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're going to start his eyes on the sparrow correctly, it's the fifth note in the scale of whatever song, whatever key you're in. Why should I feel? There it is. No matter what key you're in. If I'm in B flat, it's the fifth note. If I'm in A major, it's the fifth note. That's why knowing your scales is so important. If it's in G flat, it's the fifth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why should I? So when you're practicing all of your keys and you know those, what I call standard chord changes that you use in gospel music, you should never be afraid of what keys they're going to start. And so once you've got that established, we'll stay in G flat. When do you get loud with your chords? Now you're still following along with the singer. I love the big band sound. There we go. Go to that A flat. I sing. Now you can get louder. Now I play a lot of melody because sometimes I'm playing for a soloist who gets melody challenged. So I'll give them where they should be, and then I'll digress and go underneath them. So I may go. Now that I know where they go, where they know where to go. Give them a nice easy chord. Standard, diminished. Octave jump. The seventh chord. Drop it down. Turn on your Leslie. All right, so we've gotten you up to where the preacher is up, and I was going to hold the preacher section to a little later, but I'll throw it in there now. When your preacher is up, most times, today's Pentecostal experience, they're giving him music, different chords. covered the worship chords in my first video. Back in my day, we didn't do those worship chords. We just allowed them to get up, give their introduction, get into their message if they didn't sing a song after the sermonic solo. But then when they began to tune up, that's when the musician's ears had to be at its height. And this is where that feature, that my series, Is It Gospel or Is It Jazz, comes into place. Because when a preacher is tuning up, 60% of the time they're going to be in E flat. So I think that's where you should be doing a lot of your preacher chord practicing. Because that's where they're going to be. And you're listening to hear his cadence. If you hear them in that key, then you know you have a license to go. He's still there, but you can stay there on his chord. All jazz chords. I'll have to do a series on preacher chords in the Pentecostal church in the future. But we're at the minister now. When I come back with the next one, we'll do with altar call songs. Thanks for listening. Sam Tobit, Sound of Joy. Sunday worship sound in the Pentecostal church.